Hello everybody, it's your boy Loop. This is bringing you guys some brand new gameplay. This is ranked, and this was a pretty recent gameplay that I recorded, and I would say this is probably one of my better games. You'll see what I mean by this, but I think the kills don't really matter. I wanted to use this gameplay to kind of showcase some of the ideas that I have when it comes to approaching ranked, and I want to cover a couple topics here, which is, character composition, rotations, fights, and of course dropping, which is, I think, a big topic when it comes to ranked, knowing when to drop. And again, this is one of my first times doing these live narrations. I'm not reading from a script, so if I'm not doing a good job, please, let me know, and let me know what I'll do better, and of course I'll work on using less ums and ahs. So let's get on with the gameplay and the tips. So as you can see here, we have a composition of Wraith, Caustic, and Pathfinder. And this is very important. Each role, each legend has their own role in the sense of this composition. We have Wraith, which is very powerful, almost as must-pick in ranked and in tournaments and pro gaming. The reason being, her ult is incredibly powerful for moving teams, and you'll see in a later what I mean by this. Caustic right now is also fairly good. There's this meta, King's Canyon more so, but World's Edge, there's a meta known as third-party meta. I think most people playing Apex Legends knows how powerful third-partying is, which, if you don't play Apex Legends, it means that when two teams are fighting, a third team would find an opportune time to come and finish up kills and kill both teams. And Caustic is strong with that because of his traps. He has 6 traps available for him. So if we're engaging a fight, Caustic could put down a couple traps, and maybe a team is trying to push, and so they push in, the traps go off, and they get stopped. And Pathfinder, of course, after all his nerfs, he used to have a 15-second cooldown, but now he's a 35-second cooldown for his grapple, and it's not as good for sure. He's not as nimble. But his passive, which is scanning beacons, is incredibly powerful, and especially in maps like World's Edge where it's much bigger. And so you need to rotate and know when to use smart rotations. And World's Edge also is a fairly open map, so sometimes circles are way out in the open. So knowing where to rotate, where to grab height, where to go early is super important. So this kind of covers compositions. And one other tip that I can provide is, I think, is something that most teams should do if you're considering to play seriously, climb the ranks, get out of gold, get out of silver, which is play together with other people. Get a group together that consistently plays together, knows each other's strengths and weaknesses. So I've buddies that are like Cloudy, War, Bronze, and some other people that we play consistently together in Discord, and we know what each other play, we know our strengths, we know our weaknesses, we know how to rotate, we listen to each other. This is not something you can do playing solo queue unless you are extremely good at this game. So yeah, having a consistent group to play with is incredibly important, and of course goes back to compositions. Consistent groups have consistent compositions, which is a major strength. Kind of zooming through here because this gameplay is only about 7 minutes long. I cut out a lot of the useless stuff. As you can see here in this thing, we rotate very strategically. We first use Pathfinder to get an idea of where the next circle is. And then right when we do that, as a circle is coming in, we start our rotations. And when it comes to rotations, we have a couple places that we have in mind. Almost always, it's go to high ground. When you're playing with Caustic, you want to probably stay inside. You don't want to be out in the open. Although if you're Watson, you could play a little more open. This depends on, again, composition and knowing your team's strengths. And as you can see here, earlier in the gameplay, we chose a high ground, which is also known as almost a god spot. And even though a team tried to push us with Caustic and Bangalore and Bloodhound, we were able to fend them off because we had high ground, and we had an upper hand there. And then here, for example, we had Wraith. We portaled into this lower ground. I talk about high ground, but in this situation, great spot to be in, and a lot of pro teams use these lower grounds. This specifically to just get a position, and we were able to trap it up. and specifically here in this moment, I tried to finish, but it was even more important to finish here on this Bloodhound, which had a gold revive shield. Because if I didn't finish him, he would have revived and possibly eked into like maybe a second place or third place, waiting for all of us to die. So I couldn't really get him with my gun, so I went for the finish. Kind of risky move, but it paid off. Let's see. Yeah. I think finally in this gameplay, we also had a really great idea of where the enemy team was, which is directly above us. And in this situation, I believe we have an advantage because if they have to jump down, in this circle, they would have to jump down. So if they jump down, we simply beam them, and if they push on us, we have traps, so they can't really push on us. And I believe they didn't really play this really well because they immediately zipped to the other side, which again meant that we can just beam them from the bottom. So I think we played this incredibly smart, and I think we played to the strengths of our team. I think I covered rotations, fights, character compositions. So I guess we could just let this gameplay go through. We're kind of deciding what to do next, but the enemy team actually just helped us win the game pretty much. So they dropped down, didn't even try to nade or didn't shoot us. They tried to zip over, and we just easily cracked their shields, easily killed them. I didn't think they had very good teamwork, and so it was easy finish right here. And it's really just gun skill at this point. And this really shows how important positioning is, because position itself can win you fights and can mean either you getting, you know, top 20 or top 5 or even a win here. And even though our team kind of went down, I had my traps. And so yeah, that's the gameplay here. Again, it's my first time doing these narrations. Hope you guys liked it. Yeah, see you next time. Peace!